Hey, good morning. Happy December. What's today? 28th. Happy December 28th. We've got a great show lined up for you today with our good friend, Mr. Dave Caperton. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the whole show and what we do here. So we're all about helping people to understand that they all have blindness in their lives. If we can understand that we have blindness, then we're going to be able to understand how important it is to take off those blinders that sometimes keep us from doing what we should be doing. So if we can have the idea in our mind that we can go forward with our core values and our core beliefs, our core strengths, and to go forward with our vision, that is really where we want to take this. So the Vision Alignment Show is all about helping everyone understand the importance of having your core, or having your core values and your core strengths align with your vision. So without any further ado, wow, I feel like I'm stepping over myself and stepping over my tongue. Without any further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest for today, Mr. Dave Caperton.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right, Dave. How are you?
Great. We had a wonderful holiday, and we're home and safe, and no complaints. So
good. And you have a good holiday? Everything was good?
We did. Simple, small. We ended up. We normally have got so much running around to do. My wife's family lives in Cleveland, and it's always been, historically this huge Christmas Eve celebration where, a million kids are running around and all, and they hire Santa to come in and do a little thing for the kids. So this year, obviously, very different. We were at home. We got to visit my wife's mom. I think the last time we talked, I was up there.
Yeah. Your fancy back.
We did, yeah. So Christmas Day, we said we're just gonna sit and enjoy, and it was different, a little sad in some ways that things were different, but it was also kind of peaceful and nice. So we enjoyed it very much. I hope everyone else did as well. I hope your family did. Yeah,
we did. It was different for sure. I didn't get to see my mom on Christmas Day, which usually Christmas Eve I usually get to see her. And going away with it, not having to see any of. I'm the youngest of 10 kids, so there's 10 kids plus there's all the grandkids and.
Wait a minute, back up. You buried the lead. How many kids? 10.
10.
And where are you in the pecking order here?
I am the baby.
The youngest of 10. Oh my gosh. I thought I was spoiled. Oh no.
Oh, you know what? That whole myth of the youngest being spoiled, it's a myth. It's not true. You get picked on.
I was the youngest. Okay, I'm spoiled.
Of how many?
Just three. Three. I was the youngest, and I was the only boy. My two older sisters, and delete that part. I'm not supposed to say they're older now. At one time it was okay.
Well, you're
now
only 30.
Sisters were all like equal, but they look younger than I do. So, they took good care of me. So
that's nice.
My wife had to totally retrain me. I was a project. You do that? Oh no, that's not how this works.
We don't do that here.
No.
Our friend Ted is on this morning. Good morning, Ted. How are you this morning? That's awesome. Oh, good to see you too, Ted.
You, Ted.
That's awesome. Oh, he's the second born of 4.
That's kind of a middle child. Kind of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's right there in the middle.
That second child, when they have 4, the first one, you're sterilizing everything, right? It is like, oh, there's a germ on that. I think that touched his, his onesie. That's got that. We put it in the second one, you're just like, here.
And by the time you get to 3 or 4, I'm like
3 or 4, whatever. Hey, did you remember to feed the youngest? I'm like, he's over the dog's bowl. I think he's going to be fine. So
Yeah, we're all good. Let's see what nice and good. Good to hear it. Glad to hear it, Ted. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought we'd talk a little bit today about because really after Christmas is over, it seems like people these days, anyways, discard Christmas and they're all about planning for the next thing, the next big thing, and it's New Year's, and so New Year's is all about where do we go from here?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we have such a big build up to Christmas, and even this year, and in some ways, don't you think this year was maybe even more of a big deal just because everything else was so abnormal that, I mean, I've never seen so many houses decorated in our neighborhood as this year, because people had some time and they're like, well, I could put up lights. That's something I can control.
Hey,
yeah. I mean, we're really having brownouts because of the power drain. They really did it up, man. So
yeah. And plus people were more they wanted to get away, not just get away from everybody in their house, but get away in terms of a release and think of something else. So that too.
That's true. You don't have to deal with anybody when you're up on a ladder. It's just you.
It's all you.
Yeah, that is. I'll be in my office.
Right. This may take a while, and even Ted.
This is not how you climb a ladder. That's how you milk a very tall cow. No, this. I did it all wrong.
Very true. How do you know how to milk cows?
Well, I obviously don't if I'm doing it up here. I've
all right.
I grew up in Green Acres. Come on.
Okay. Fair enough.
Everything I learned about the rural life, I learned from television and cartoons.
Yeah.
And it's, did you like? No, I don't know. How old are you, Brian?
I'm 53.
So you're 53. You're almost 10 years younger than I am. So
wow.
A little different era, right? I grew up every Saturday morning with Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Tunes.
Oh yeah.
They were wonderful, very funny. Some of them don't hold up too well in a politically correct.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah. I mean, I realize it's almost every character. The humor came from a speech impediment. A speech kind of a speech problem, and I was like, well, now you look at it, you're like, I guess that wasn't very nice that we thought that was comedy, but it also taught us a lot. Once I heard somebody talking about, they were concerned about violence on television back, when I was probably a teenager in high school. And all these people were saying how many acts of violence that kids see in cartoons. And like, watch a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And wonder why violence is on the rise. Watch a cartoon. And I have to say, I was skeptical. Kind of like, I doubt it. I mean, when Wolf Blitzer comes on television with a terrorist armed only with a giant mallet and rocket powered roller skates, went on a rampage in our nation's capital, then I'd say, yeah, maybe that has something to do with it. But,
now I can see that, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I kind of think that was, although there were some things, like I remember as a kid getting the ladder out, getting up on the garage roof, and I still have the image of me kind of perched over with my toes over the gutters with the umbrella open going, no reason why this shouldn't work,
We're going to try it, though.
I saw Daffy Duck do that. Turned out very differently. Very different.
My most memories are with Wile E. Coyote and the dog Sam. I think his name was.
Was that the one who? What do you mean Sam? Who's Sam? Which one's Sam?
Sam is the dog with the hair that comes over his eyes.
Oh yeah, the sheepdog. Yeah, the
sheepdog. Yeah.
Okay, Sam the sheepdog. Yeah. The ones where they would punch the clock and then
exactly.
As he tried to guard the sheep and Wile E. Coyote. He was like, "Morning, Sam." Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, yeah. So those were good memories, and the anvil we got overused way too much. I never understood what Acme Company was all about.
They had everything.
Yeah.
Had no problem selling you high explosives either. No. Go to Acme. They got it all.
Yeah, that was another time. But I actually was coming downstairs, and I said to Connie, as my wife, I said, Connie, I said, man, remember when we get up on Saturday mornings and we'd just be able to watch cartoons? Yeah. And she said, well, there's probably a station they're still on. Yeah. But when I grew up, we only had 2 channels. So, cartoons was it.
Well, we had 3, so we lived in the lap of luxury.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I do remember, you'd get up, and you had to get up about 7.
Yeah.
You're going to see all your cartoons, because I remember Heckle and Jekyll started at 7 a.m. and an early rise, And then after that was Bugs Bunny. It was on for like an hour and a half. I forget what. And I love those. And then there was only one adventure one that I liked, which was Johnny Quest. The Johnny Quest with Race Bannon. I always thought it was funny because Johnny Quest was had this blonde hair, and then his dad was Dr. Quest, and he had a red hair and beard, right? But
I don't remember Johnny Quest.
His close confidant and his assistant to the whole thing was a guy named Race Bannon, who looked for all the world like a muscular Mike Pence, right? And had the exact same hair color and features as Johnny Quest. And I'm thinking, Dr. Quest, you might want to have a conversation with Mr. Quest.
Maybe something happened.
It was a simple.
It wasn't real, man.
Oh, we're talking about nothing important.
No, we're not. We're not, but I love it. So I didn't do Johnny Quest or talk about Johnny Quest. I didn't watch Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
I'm saying, needing to say that correctly. But I did a lot of superpowers and what they call the Wonder Twins. The League of Justice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You were. I was too old for that. So by the time they came along, I was done with my cartoon face. So yeah.
Well, I have a buddy. He still watches cartoons, and I sometimes admire him for doing that. He just is not one to give up on them. So,
well, you know what? And it's funny because it kind of cuts across all interests and education levels and personality types. Do you remember the group KISS? Right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Big in the 70s when I was in high school, and then they had a career that thank God you put on makeup that hides everything. As long as you can walk on platform boots, you can tour. Yeah. And they kept doing it. But Gene Simmons, of course, was the bassist with the tongue high.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing about that guy was, here he was, this rock god, very imposing on the stage with his makeup and and in private, when you hear him interview, he is one of the most knowledgeable people about the entire Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. He knows exactly what title and every plot line of every cartoon made at Warner Brothers. It is hilarious, because he just completely geeks out. It's like, oh, Wile E. Coyote, there were 2 different people.
Well, that's interesting. He could be that kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, it's funny where you find, common ground with others who just seem like they're just from some other planet. And yet, it could be something as simple as that. I think kind of bring this back to something that might actually be of some use to your is
common ground.
One of the things that I'm really offering to a lot of the potential clients that I have for 2021 is to look at the need of, hey, what is it we really need after this year that we've had? And again, I'm a big fan of two things, so to me, the two things that I think people are going to appreciate and we need right now are we need to find some ways to find some common ground and make those connections with others. As polarized we've been throughout all the divisions we've seen politically, racially, and class, socioeconomic, we're really divided. And so finding common ground is very important. And I think the other thing we all need is, man, we need to laugh. We need just some healing laughter. Because we all need a break, and laughter just provides that, whether it's Looney Tunes or just, having fun with your buddy on his streaming show on LinkedIn.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. It is therapeutic though. And it's something that, as you're making your New Year's resolutions, that's one of them. How can I this year be more intentional and successful at connecting and finding common ground? And then it's okay to look for and actually make a priority out of finding healing laughter and some humor to share with others. Because that's a great way to connect with others. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think about laughter and how important laughter is for all of us to have. But I mean, I think just making some of the people smile, just the basis of a smile can go a long way.
Well, it's because the smile is the primary humor response, and I often will ask an audience, I'll say, what is the primary humor response? And of course, somebody always says, like, well, laughter, we laugh. And I think, well, that's true for some people. They go from completely serious to, but they're creepy. That's kind of, oh, where does that come from?
That's kind of weird.
Is that smile, and it's not just a smile, because there are different types. As we know, there are certainly lots of different functions of a smile. Not all of them friendly, not all of them positive, but
right.
But the real one when you see it, right? Mm-hmm. That sometimes it's just this obligatory thing, like when you're going into your doctor, right? And you go up to the receptionist, and the receptionist gives you the paperwork and says, fill out the forms and have a seat. Give it and you return it because it's like, I will, thank you, and you sit down and do it. But it doesn't really do much for you, does it? I mean, you don't really feel warm inside. But then there are people that you come across, maybe you have a close relationship with them, but when you see them, you can count on it being a wonderful, positive, emotionally uplifting experience. And their smile you see is the actual genuine article. And you say, there it is, man. And that's the primary humor response. And it even has a term. It has a term called the Duchenne smile.
Really?
And the Duchenne smile, yeah. And the Duchenne smile is characterized by not so much what happens around the mouth, right? But around the eyes. The small muscles around the eyes, when they're activated. And the reason why it's called that is there was a French neurobiologist from the 19th century who did a lot of research. In fact, his name. Anybody who knows anything about muscular dystrophy knows that Duchenne syndrome. That that's a type of muscular dystrophy, right? But he also studied human expression, and he was trying to see. It was like, what is it that makes us actually have an emotional reaction that's genuine to someone else's facial expression? And what he discovered was it has to do what happens around here. When you create that little network of wrinkles around the eyes, then people see that and they go, oh, that's real, right? Mm-hmm. And it creates a genuine emotional response. So that's the Duchenne smile. So practice it with me, Brian. You did very well. You did very well.
I gotta be honest with you. I was Googling Duchenne smile while we were talking. So I didn't hear everything you said. Sorry, I was distracted.
Oh, I'm listening, Dave. Oh yeah, right ahead.
I'm checking my email, but no, I didn't check my email. What's Ted?
In my area who wanted to meet me.
Ted chiming in here. To be connected, I am setting up Zoom calls with people and have a coach relationship with. That's great, Ted.
That's an excellent plan.
I love it. I love it.
You have to be intentional about that. And what we can't do at a actual meeting for coffee, avail yourself of the technology. We have some terrific technology. And although I know we're all kind of zoomed out, way too many remote meetings, but just kind of hanging with friends, whether it's Zoom or House Party or, some other app, smiling eyes with Matt. Yes. Very good, Randall. Yes. Smiling eyes. People say, well, what good is a smile now? I'm wearing a mask. If it's around the eyes, hey, I can still see that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if people can see my smile, but yeah, most people you can see a smile.
You can. It doesn't matter because it's what's going on around the eyes that matters. So yeah, you got it.
Randall is good. I love that guy.
Yeah, that's good.
So your two things for your New Year's resolution.
21.
You would say one is to smile more, make people smile more.
To access and find more good, compassionate humor to share. I mean, I just think that's a really important thing because it is healing. And then one that's kind of could be related to that is to find ways to create more common ground with others. And that's a tough one because we're all divided. It's funny. I was reading an article because I'm a political guy, and I know that, and it doesn't matter what my ideology is. All I know is if you're political, half the country is not with you, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. As I joke that my eye wrinkles are finally good for something. That's how
yeah, they're not crow's feet.
No, those are smile lines.
Exactly.
We're all wanting that. But you know what? As you get older, those do become permanent. And as you've been kind of your default facial mode, it's pose what you drop to when you're not thinking about it. Those wrinkles will tell the story. They'll tell on you. They'll tell whether you've lived a life with a guy, because you'll get frown lines or you get smile lines. Oh, here's another thing. Really, I love this little piece of research. People, when they look at a picture of someone smiling and unsmiling, and then they're asked to guess their age, they guess an average of 2 years younger when you smile.
Really?
It's a facelift. Oh, post facelift.
Now, anybody that values their money, because a lot of people go out and get facelifts. Anybody that values their money, I mean, why not smile instead?
Yeah. Hey, cheer up. It's cheaper. So,
right. Exactly.
No, so it is. Those are the two things I'm looking for. So back to kind of the politics thing. I was reading an article, and it was about this guy who was, selling political gear out a little tent, and the candidate that he supported was not the one that I voted for, right? And so I'm reading about this, and we have treated politics and elevated it to a point where it's now the make or break for relationships, which I think is very sad. Yeah. Because the people I've got people in my family, I have dear friends that I've known for years who I absolutely love. And yet I know we do not hold the same worldview when it comes to who we vote for, but that we demonize and we framed the other side, whoever that is, as enemies or as somehow hating the country you love. I think it's a terrible mistake because we've driven a wedge and made it impossible to bridge this chasm. Yeah. But here I'm reading about this guy. And in the run up to the election, he's selling all this, this yard and flags and all kinds of things. And, every time I see some of that candidate stuff, I was like, But then he was talking about coming up on the waning days of the election cycle. And he realized, this is about to be over. He's going to have to fold his tent and go home. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about his struggles financially, that this was something that was giving him some income. And the writer of the article talked about, he said, on the seat beside him on his truck was this old dog. And he said, my dog is sick. And, I want to get it to the vet. I can't afford it. And I think that really got to me, because I thought, hey, look, it doesn't matter that we don't vote the same, right? It doesn't matter we don't see candidates the same way. I know what it is to care about an old dog, right? I know what it is I even know what it's like to not know how you're going to afford to give it the care because you love it so much that it's really going to need. And I thought, there's a point of connection, right? That's compassion, because we love the same way, even if we don't vote the same way. That common ground, hey, it's possible. It's just, it's going to take some work and looking beyond the obvious, So that was a little lesson for me. And I thought, I won't look at the people who support who I don't necessarily support in quite the same way. If I keep that in mind, maybe they got a dog they care about, or a child that's sick, or some parent who's, in the things that they're afraid of, the jobs that they've lost. And once we replace tribalism with some compassion, we got some common ground, and we can move beyond some of those things. And I think, well, we don't need that in 2021.
Yeah. Ted joined us from a different page, so he wanted to let us know. But yeah, I agree. Finding those areas for common ground, though, that's hard to do.
Yeah, you know what, Brian, I got a suggestion for folks, and that is, I'm not, suggesting that I've figured it out, but I found a good place to start. And it's not in our common experience. It's not in our politics. It's not necessarily in our religious faith. It's in our shared need. We all have the same needs when it comes to what we need emotionally. We talked about it before, our need to be recognized and included and to feel cared about. Those are the things all of us need. Doesn't matter how old we are. Doesn't matter the color of our skin or where we go to church or don't. Those are the things we all need. And so that's where we intersect. And if we can find a way to meet those simple needs, recognizing someone else, including them in some way, and letting them know that they're cared about by caring about the things that they cared about, whether that's, what you actually do share in common and beliefs, or just what you care about, like your pet, your dog. It's a bridge. It's a place where you can meet. And so once you look at it, it's like, I guess maybe it's not that tricky after all. It's just a matter of looking in the right place.
Looking in the right place and taking the time to do that and to reflect on it. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. I think everything is about our intention. I'm doing a program in a couple of weeks for a company, and it's aimed at the idea of complaint. Why is it complaint is, why is that a problem? What problems does it create? And it's like, complaint is not an all bad thing, because it helps us identify problems and those kinds of things, but it also is addictive, right? It also is a way of finally just seeing the world, and it becomes a filter that filters out all the good. And I was cleaning some windows yesterday. We were having someone over, and I'm cleaning some windows. And I thought, it's funny. We always can see the presence of dirt. Mm-hmm. We seldom recognize its absence, right? So when we see it, we go like, there's something wrong that needs to be done. It's a problem. But when it's not there, we don't go, hey, that's right.
Clean a window.
Yeah, look at it. Well, it's like now the big, the big item these days, again, for gift giving at this Christmas was air cleaners are back, and I've always wondered, it's like, how do we even know they work? I've never strap one to the back of a, West Virginia coal miner and go, no more black lung worries for you. You have the Auric 3000, nobody's ever walked in my house and like, boy, Dave, your air is spotless. There's no chunk.
Wow, this is amazing.
Right. And I just think we just have to kind of take it on faith that it works. But we put a premium on it because, if you really are breathing impure air, we know now, like we have not had to be reminded in a lot of years that it's dangerous to your health, right? So we notice what is wrong, and that can be the basis of complaint and also problem solving. But it also could be the only thing we look for. Mm-hmm. And once it becomes the only thing we look for, then we have a perception problem that's only locked into complaint. And it just draws attention to us, and it constantly introduces a negative. And finally, it ends up, being a place where we're just cynical. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good place to be. And it's certainly not something that's going to lift and edify or solve problems. And it becomes the place where a lot of people, think now, when you talk about 2020, we can certainly get an amen chorus by like 2020. Am I right?
That's an easy one. That's a layup.
Year 2020 was. And you're right. They're right in some ways. We've had the pandemic, we've had the lockdown, we've had economic downturn. But our lives are not lived a year at a time. So little reminder for all of us. And I have to remind myself, your life is not lived in yearly increments. We just use that as an index tool, right? That happened in 2020. Oh, they were, my son was born in 1994. Oh, my grandfather died in 2002. It's just, these are things that we use for reference, but they can also change our perception so that it's like the year was bad. No, there were a lot of wonderful days during the year. A lot of great things that happen because life is lived in moments. And the more we focus on the moments, the more hope there is to find, joy. And so, I got to alter that, like you say, the vision a little bit. And part of that vision is, what do you focus on? And how much do you take in at a time? Sometimes it's great to have that 20,000 foot view, but in living life and looking for joy, man, you got to look for those little tiny moments. Coffee with my wife in the morning is a joy that I look forward to. And it's like, if you let those things skip by because they're mundane and routine, you miss an awful lot. And you start looking at whole chunks of your life as being good or bad, some kind of binary value of, 2020, get rid of that. I'm like, no, it's a lot of 2020 I wouldn't trade. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Even Ted here agrees. Acknowledging the problems leads to customers having a better experience. But remember to acknowledge positive feedback helps keep you in the right direction while fixing problems.
Absolutely. Complaint and focusing, seeing the problem has a great function because those windows would never get cleaned if we didn't see the dirt, right? Mm-hmm. But if all we do is look for dirt, then we also don't realize that, there's a lot that's good and we got to celebrate too.
Yeah. It's like driving down I used to drive down. I love to drive. Used to love to drive, and going for a drive and seeing the sun out and the sun in my eyes and just that whole experience. I always would talk about how beautiful a day is for a drive. Now, most people didn't recognize that it's a beautiful day for a drive because typically they focus on, if it's raining or this or that and the other thing. So they typically focus on the bad aspects of life, and getting out of that mindset is hard to do. But once you get there, right, and you focus on the sun in your eyes, then it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it does. Complaint a lot of times becomes a social script that we hand one another, because like we say about 2020 or the government or teenagers or anything at all you want to complain about, somebody else knows exactly what their line is and they start reading from it, what do you think of the government? Oh, the government's wasteful and they're terrible. Oh, Pete, how about kids today? Oh, a bunch of lazy guys always on their phones. They can't even communicate. And people, they just start reading from the script. So one of my pieces of advice, challenges for 2021 is tear up the script. All right. Don't accept the script just because somebody hands it to you. Counter it. Try something to flip that script. Someone says, hey, teenagers, you're like, you know what? I think teenagers today are a great hope because I see them being smarter, more informed, more connected, and more willing to solve problems that are really big. I think teenagers are great. You know, sometimes as a teacher, when I was teaching, I found the greatest impact I had was when I ran counter to the naysayers about some kid. Some kid in the teacher's lounge would become this feeding frenzy of, you think you got a story about that kid, he's in the pre-penitentiary program,
The whole one-up thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I would say, that kid's all right. He's okay. I like him. I think he's a little confused. But I think he's going to be okay. And what that would do with two things, it sometimes stopped all that, and then a lot of times it emboldened somebody else who'd been kind of on the sidelines being quiet because they don't want to, I don't want to disagree with all this, this chorus. And they go like, yeah, I think so too. And then, you get a whole different perception of this kid. And I think that sometimes that's the greatest value you have. It's just like tear up the script. Don't read just because somebody hands you a negative complaining script.
I think that's a great theme for 2021. Tear up the script.
Tear up the script.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's great. It's great, Dave. Just great having you on. Great talking with you. I mean, we've gone way over our time for today, but I'm looking forward to the next time that you can come on and we can continue this conversation. So
I always enjoy it, Brian.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all you've done for me, and for all you've done for all the people on the line. So thanks a lot, Dave.
All right.
All right. We'll see you soon. All right. Bye. All right. Oh, wow. Dave Caperton. Woohoo! He's awesome. I love that guy. He just really, really brings it when it comes to, so much practical knowledge that needs to be shared with the other people. I think that he does a great job, and I'm looking forward to having him back on and talking to him more about all that and other things as well. So, just thank you for being on. I always appreciate you and appreciate all that you've done for this community as well. So, as always, continue to listen to this, listen to our videos, but put in a hashtag live or a hashtag replay, and then also put in your comments of you winking and put in a hashtag of winking without Wagner and a hashtag of Brian with one eye, and then tag me on the photo. Much like Ted, I know Ted has done that. So he's going to be winning a signed copy of my book, and I'm going to get that out to you, Ted, as long as we can get your contact information. But we'll get back together with you soon. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And as always, remember to keep one eye on the road.